Life and Living. I'm Joanna Gagis. She's an organization expert who's going organic in all aspects of her life, and she'll explain why you should too. She's Patricia Diesel, author of Organically Yours. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You are a friend of the Caucus Educational Corporation. We've had you on our sister program, One-on-One with Steve Adubato, for some other books that you've written, all about organization, right?
That's right.
But this book's a little bit different. Talk
Very
about
different.
Organically Yours and what the impetus of this book was for you.
Okay, so imagine this. You wake up in the morning and you think you're going on vacation, right? And you go to bed the night before all psyched up. And you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you find out you're not the same person that went to bed.
What does that mean? What did that look like for you?
So I looked in the mirror and I saw these symptoms like black and blue under my eyes, a butterfly rash on my face, swelling on my forehead. So of course,
you had never seen these things before?
No, no.
What was it?
Well, turned out that I went to the doctor like anybody would, and they gave me a diagnosis of an autoimmune disease they thought was lupus. And so that led me into this, self-discovery of, what's really going on. And I wanted to know how this all came about.
I know there's still so much we don't know about autoimmune disease, right? But taking your organizational background, what did you decide you needed to do for yourself to help process whatever you were learning about the disease and to better your life?
That's a great question because it's a loaded question too, right?
It is.
And so with my organizational background, the one thing that I knew was when you're in a health crisis, the first thing you want to do is you really need to be organized because you're going to be bombarded with paperwork. You're going to be bombarded with emotions and feelings, right?
Did you know going in that this was going to be overwhelming, that you were going to be bombarded with those things, or did you learn it as you went?
Oh, no. I had no idea I was going to be so overwhelmed because I had no idea how I was going to feel when I was, getting my different diagnoses and different feelings from different doctors I was going to. I was not a happy camper. And I realized I had to become my own health advocate and my own health detective. And that led me on a journey to figure out what's the root cause, what's really going on. So Joanna, it no longer became about, is this really a diagnosis of lupus or an autoimmune disease, as how do I stop these symptoms? How do I reduce my symptoms to make myself feel better again?
So you've taken this very comprehensive approach to clean living.
Yes.
Right? What do you mean by clean living first?
So what I did was, in my discovery, I found that plant-based diets heal your body. And so when I tried that, I started to detox my body, and I went on a specific plan, and I started realizing my symptoms were going away. The pain was going away, the swelling was going away, the rash went away. And so I was like, there's something to this. There's something seriously to this.
Is this the impetus of the organic part?
Yes. So then I realized, okay, plant-based diet's cool. Well, you know me, I got to take it a step above. So I decided I'm going to try this the organic way. And it's, listen, if you're eating a specific diet that's, we already know that's not the best for you, quote unquote.
Processed foods, maybe high in meats and fats and all of that.
Absolutely. Right. So I started really thinking about intentional eating. And then organic.
Intentional eating, meaning choosing what you're going to eat, choosing it carefully, choosing organic if you can.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
So that's the body portion of it, right?
Yes.
And then there's the mind. How did you approach your mind, what you experienced was happening with your mind with the overload, as you said?
So being a student of coaching and being a coach myself, I knew immediately that I was going into overwhelm, right? And I wasn't going to let it get the best of me because no one can do this for you. You have to do it yourself. You're responsible for your own well-being. And so I needed to tap into what I already knew about, coaching and how I can, keep a positive mindset. There's something called the amygdala, which is, it holds the memories, and there's also—
That's a part of the brain.
Part of the brain, right. And the fight and flight. And then the thalamus kicks in and tells your body when you're in that fight and flight mode, right? So if you're holding on to a negative memory, which is you're getting overwhelmed, like, oh, I'm just diagnosed with something, what's going to happen to me? So I had to be aware that that was happening. And then I had to replace any of that negative chatter with, no, you're going to be all right, and you're going to figure this out, and you're going to take the next step, and you're going to take the next step.
Is that meditation? Is that mantras? What is that? How do you get to that place? Because people who are listening who are feeling that overwhelm are saying, that sounds great in
yeah, but how do I do it?
Yeah, in practicality, how do I do it?
Exactly. So it's a little bit of everything, that positive talking to yourself with affirmations. It's meditation, right? It's really eating well and getting a good night's rest and exercising and doing things that are uplifting for your spirit.
I don't want to oversimplify this, but in a sense, this is just practical, good advice for how we should all be living our lives. Take out a very stressful trigger like getting a diagnosis, right? We should all be doing these things.
And you know what's so funny? I always thought I was doing everything right. I mean, I'm Irish and Italian, so you put that together and so what did I know? You know, I'm thinking, you know, the more pasta, the more cheese, the more dairy, we're all good. And I'm not to say that you have to cut everything out. It's something that I call in the book the paper cut theory that I learned from my doctor, which is, you know, you have to balance. And so now after I start to, you know, detox my body, get myself healthy, I think about, okay, if I do go off my diet, I don't beat myself up. I know it's just a paper cut and I'm gonna be fine.
Giving yourself a little grace.
That's right.
What is the connection between stress and inflammation that we know?
Okay, so we already know that stress is inflammatory. So you wanna keep your stress reduced, and that's why you should really try to exercise and, you know, do something that makes you feel good. Yoga, walking, you know, being around people that uplift your spirits.
And finally, environment is so important to you. It's been your coaching kind of model for all these years. So how do you approach your environment, especially in a crisis situation?
Yeah, and I can't begin to tell you, being organized, having a space that I felt like, you know, I can come home to and I have that part together is so important. So I would say to everyone that, you know, when you're cluttered in your brain, you're going to manifest outwardly. We already know that too, okay? So try to keep a handle on that the best that you can, because that breeds a healthier lifestyle for you. So knowing that I had that already for me was, you know, just like a relief, right? And when I talk about environment, not just the living space, what I mean is environmentally in terms of who are you hanging around with? Are you with people that are bringing you down, right? Because we want to build the body up.
So that stress can be relationships as well.
That's right. That's right. Really important.
So for those of us who sometimes struggle with organization, I say I always have a space in my house that's a little bit messy, that needs to be organized, and sometimes that in itself is the stressor that I'm not doing good enough, and it's that pressure we always put on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So how do we address that, and how do we, even if we know that there's something we need to address, not beat ourselves up and create more stress?
Yeah, and I think, again, it goes back to realizing, number one, we're doing the best that we can. And of course, if it's really bothering you to a point where it's infringing upon the quality of your life, where you know, like, I just can't take this anymore, I have to do this, then make it a priority, right? And then sometimes it's just temporary. Right. You know, you're going to get to it and everything else is going to fall into place eventually. But when you are in a situation that you find yourself in a health crisis or any type of setback, I think the more organized you are, I don't think I'll ever change my thought process about that, the better you're going to be.
How has writing this book for you been a catharsis?
That's a great question. I still get emotional about it because I think it's really helped me come through to realize that I want to help people. I don't want people to go through what I went through, because I think the more educated you are on what you're eating and how to build your body up and how to take control over your own destiny is really important.
Patricia Diesel, Organically Yours, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joanna.
Life and Living has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Life and Living with Joanna Gagis has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, PSE&G, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, New Jersey State Nurses Association and the Institute for Nursing, the Northward Center, and by NJM Insurance Group. Additional support provided by Melandre Salon and Sulis Spa. Look beautiful, feel beautiful. Life and Living with Joanna Gagis has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.